We come with messages of love and of light. And as we spoke last time, the strength of the timeline of abandonment from your ancestors, from your whole lineage line, from the time that you even came to earth for the first time ever. This is where the abandonment started. And as this starts to come to the surface, to be healed and to be released, we can see and we can feel that it's being released. However, fear is filling up that gap. And we would say that abandonment is a lower vibration than fear in a frequency vibration, because fear is so familiar to you. You are comfortable with the uncomfortableness of fear. But abandonment is a deep-rooted vibration. So we would like to eliminate this filling up one low vibration with another. As you move forward and expose the abandonment vibration for every single thing on this planet, it unlocks a level of fear where people don't even want to leave their house. All of a sudden they're afraid to fly in an airplane. All of a sudden they're afraid to eat nuts just in case they're allergic. So it can manifest in different ways and on the most minute scale, like being afraid of germs and washing your hands 28 times a day. Overnight, that just shifted in you. So it can manifest in different ways, but it usually manifests in a way that you feel comfortable about the fear, because you've been in fear for so long that there's a familiarity with it. And to establish what really a fear is, or what you're afraid of, is very simple, because if any sentence starts with, I don't want this to happen, so this is what I do. I'm doing this because I don't want this to happen. That's fear. Preventative maintenance is good in building structures, but that's something that is man-made. You are making that. Whereas if you're creating every cell in your body, what preventative measures do you need? You only need creation. So what you're doing each time you say that sentence, I don't want to get sick, so I'm going to stay away from you. I don't want to get sick, so I'm going to wash my hands 100 times. What you're doing is you're creating the fear. And guess what happens when you put that into your spiral of creation?
It must manifest.
Your fear comes to you, and then that instills another layer of things are not working out for me. I did all the things that I could do, and why am I getting sick? Why is this happening to me? Why am I not worthy of health? So you can start to see how these layers of low vibrational emotions start to pile upon each other. And it only takes one or two realizations and releases for it to all unfold. Kind of like pulling a string out of a jacket, like a thread out of a jacket, and you just go to pull it so it comes off, and then you realize that it's all the way up the seam of the jacket, and the jacket now has a pole and is falling apart. And it's up to you if you want to re-sew that jacket, or if you just accept that it is not for you anymore, and you give it to somebody else, or you use it in another way. So if creation is made up of cells of desire, then fear is still creation. You're still creating it. It's not something that's happening to you. You are creating it yourself. Once you have this realization, and once you can really feel those words that you are creating it yourself, like it's me, I'm doing it to myself, it's the first thread that unweaves that jacket. And of course, you can go down the road of, well, this happened to me when I was 15, and then this happened to me when I was 3, and my youngest memory was this, and it's all, horrible and horrific things. So you've built those layers, you've built that fear in you. It's not about being stuck in those areas of your life. Those experiences have happened, you can't change them anymore. What you can do is change how they feel to you now. What you can do is release yourself from the pain and release yourself from the judgment. What you can do is release yourself and love yourself. And if you're not even at the options of that yet, and it's still the circumstance or the other person's fault, then there is some work to do. So imagine as a collective how much of this there is. As a collective, how is the vibration around you, around your building, around your house, around your suburb, around your city, with each individualized experience unraveling? This manifests in electrical outages, internet downtime, movements in the ground underneath you, movements in the waters around you, because it's in creation with you, it's co-creating with you. So if you're having a mass shift in energy, then of course your co-creation, your co-pilots, your partners in this experience, the animals, the plants, the water, the weather, the food, the harvest, the crops, the home that you're in, your devices, are all co-creation. So if you're having this experience, then they can only co-create within the experience that you're having, because they match your vibration. And we are sharing this as we feel that there are many people that feel they have released a lot of things already and still feeling like how much more is there to release. So we're trying to explain the sides of the pyramid or the sides of the spiral that are still in your everyday life and affect you. So it's never ending in terms of the releasing, because you have so many cells of creation and so many layers of emotion. And if you're co-creating with everything around you, everything is an experience. So we need to release the fact that we will always be releasing, because with releasing is growth and expansion. We had to release the fact that we were using lead in pencils and move to pens. You can only release that with growth and expansion, saying, okay, that's not good for you, that's not good for us, it's not good for anybody. What can we do to make a difference here? And it's what would be considered a minute scale of something super small, but it's affecting your life now. And a lot of the layers will be unraveled or revealed to you because of the root fear or the primal fear, which is coming from abandonment. And there are aspects of abandonment from the mother. For you were once connected and birthed to then become disconnected. So this relationship of connection and disconnection, of living within the black space, living within the womb space to being an individual experience, this only instills or enroots the layers. There is so much love that technically the vibration of love should override the abandonment and the disconnection. However, if your mother is holding it and her mother before her and her mother before her, it's almost inevitable that you will feel that vibration and carry that with you and think that that is a normal feeling. And on some level, we all feel, and at some point of our lives, we all feel abandonment from Mother Mary, Mother Nature, our own mother's womb space, because we feel that disconnection. And this is why when people start to reconnect with Mother Nature, and not just grounding and being out in nature, I mean really connecting, like really feeling the heart beat through the ground, really feeling the roar of the waves, really feeling the wind whistle whispering in your ears, like really connecting with the sun and the whole system. Once you get to that level, you become so emotional and so attached that that becomes your way of life, because you've eliminated the abandonment root from Mother Nature, which is something that is innate in you. You are connected to nature because it's co-creating with you every day. And if you're disconnected from your physical mother or your actual mother or your mother figure, then I would say that it would be more challenging to have an experience of unconditional love, to be held in a space of love, without judgment, without condition, without any of that. So you take these feelings and you go out into the world, and then you start your own relationships. You start to be your own parent. You then become a parent. And you say, I didn't have those relationships. So I don't fall victim to that, I'm going to do this. Which is also, so I don't get sick, I'm going to wash my hands. Preventative. Instead of standing in your truth of where you are at, where is your vibration right now? Where is your energy right now? And what do you need to co-create with, or what can you co-create with to instill love in every single cell, to create love unconditionally to everything and everyone around you, to reconnect with nature in a way that is upgrading you as you upgrade it? Why do you break down and cry and sob like literally an infant looking at the sunset, or being close to nature, or feeling the freedom to do that around your mother? Because of the energy, because of the connection, because of the acceptance of that's what you are as well, because of the knowing that you are co-creating, because of the safeness and stillness that you feel, because of the unconditional love. And we want to be clear, there is no good mother or bad mother. It's just a person going through their own individual experience, playing the role for your growth and for your expansion as well as their own. There may be moments and experiences where there is regret, or where there is, I could have done that a little better. But that is growth and expansion. Just like there is no good children or bad children. They are just individual experiences. And when you start to connect to that storyline, as opposed to I was abandoned, or I didn't have a relationship with my mother, or my mother was not around, so you can shift that story to that's something that did happen at that time to build you into the person that you are right now. So where is your energy now? Are you connected to the earth? Are you connected to the planet? Are you connected and co-creating with Mother Nature? Are you working on things to prevent them happening, or are you creating? And there's such a strength in standing in your connection to the earth, to the mother, being rooted in that strength, grounded in that strength, but still knowing and living as an individual experience. Do you have any questions?
Great sharing, and it gives a lot of context to understanding what is actually happening and how we can work within it and work and clear what we need to clear. Some of these things are so subtle that even I've been experiencing with people that I didn't think it would be abandonment, but it makes complete sense.
Like what?
I think one of the things I've noticed is abandonment of self. Like, I think that is one thing that I see people going through. They're realizing how much they sacrifice themselves for others, or how they're the ones actually telling themselves what they are, but it's based on what other people have perceived them to be, and it's almost this separation of, I can't be the one telling myself this. And yet they're also accepting, like, I am the one telling myself this.
We would say that you're just pulling the thread on this. You're just at the, we don't want to say surface because that negates the depth of what you're talking about. But pull that string, because there's a lot further that you could go, and just allow it to unravel. We also see that there's so much protection and even a fear of just the unravel that is completely human. It's not experienced anywhere else.
That's a good point, because that's the other side of it, is when I'm talking with people to help them move through that, there is like a complete denial because It's like accepting that I'm a bad person almost, or accepting that I've done something wrong. And it's like, no, I don't even want to hear that fact. So I won't even ask the questions. And it's almost prejudging the answer, knowing that it's going to be like, so the wall goes up going, I don't even want to ask the questions to go down the rabbit hole or pull the thread.
I mean, to go with this thread example, you would just fix the thread because it's not perfect. It's not where it needs to be. Why isn't the thread doing its job? How did this happen to me? Why is this happening to me? Why do I have to fix it? Should I send it to somebody to get it fixed? And another story about just a one thing that happened. But if you could take the strength to look at it as in, I'm not going to fix this, I'm going to look at it for what it is. What is this trying to show me? What is this trying to tell me? What is it that I can't see right now that I need to see? Because if you fix it, then a button will fall off. And then you fix the button and the pocket seam rips. And you know what you'll do is just buy another jacket. And that old jacket with the thread, the button, and the seams ripped up will just sit in the cupboard. Not have any of your attention, not be looked at for years. There's so much power and there's so much enlightenment in your individual experience by looking at the areas that are exposed, by looking at the thread or the breakout or the whatever you want to call it. Because what this is, quote unquote, revealing is for you to see. It's for you to understand. It's for nobody else to give you their opinion on. It's not for somebody else to fix for you. It's not for anybody else's experience. You could wear that jacket and nobody would even notice that there's a thread missing or a button broken or something in the seam is damaged. Because it's not for them to see. It's not for their experience. It's for your individual experience. But once you look at that, once you expose that, once you do the work for that, your realizations and your experience in overcoming this does assist the collective. Because you are connected. So if you're upgrading or up-leveling or holding more space and light, what do you think nature will do around you? What do you think your friends and family will do around you? What do you think your pets will do around you? They can only be around you holding the same space of love and light, or else they just won't be around. So there's co-creation in all aspects here.
So the only way is through.
Well, that's another reason why we refer to a spiral. You can't take a shortcut in a spiral. You can go forwards and backwards if that's how you want to view it, but you're still moving. It's not stagnant energy. It's not just left in the cupboard. So that's why we like to use the spiral. And plus the spiral is, it is what you are. It's what's made of everything. So it's very easy to relate to that. But that's why we would use that example there.
So what is the energy around denial?
It's another aspect of fear. So that's a great question. I think we've never been able to explain this before. Can we have a short break?
Yeah.
So thank you for asking that question, as we'll be able to explain something that I believe that we have never explained before in any way, shape or form. in the way that you would be able to understand it now. So let's just take the example of abandonment, which has come with you. Okay, it's come with you from day dot, from when you were a star dust to coming into this planet. It's being carried with you in your genetic DNA from everything that's made up in your DNA from the lineage, okay? Understand?
Yeah.
So that's abandonment. When you became a human on Earth, you took that abandonment and created fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of the planet, fear of abandonment, fear of being hunted and hunted, fear of all of these things. So now you have abandonment, which is the root, and you have a aspect of abandonment, which is fear. Then as time went on, you had abandonment, you had fear, and then you also had other aspects. You have things like, in war days, you would have things like fear of illness and the plague and fear of death and fear of disease and all of these things. Then, as you moved on, you would have abandonment, fear, fear of death, fear of disease, or fear of dying, basically, to fear of success, fear of, and let's bring it fast forward to fear of pesticides, fear of being cheated on, fear of giving birth, fear of medicine, fear of doctors, fear of depression, fear of denial, fear of not being good enough, fear of reading in public, fear of driving, fear of all of these other things. So from abandonment and fear, fear has been able to be depicted and be experienced in several thousand ways. So what we would say is, the root of depression or anxiety and the root of all of these things does come from fear. It's just an aspect of how that energy is being manifest in your life right now. Because when you're saying the words denial or depression or disease, interesting that they all start with the letter D. When you say that, it is still fear just being manifest in something that you are still comfortable with, because you are comfortable in fear.
So we even got creative with fear. We got
You
very
can
creative.
only get creative because you are creation and you are constantly co-creating with things around you. So, oh no, I don't fear heights or flying, but I fear death. Or I don't fear pesticides in my food because I eat really clean, but I fear my bank account or not being worthy enough, or I fear my boss. It's still fear. It's just one aspect of it. So we would say that the abandonment has come with you through your DNA lineage in creation, but fear is something you made. It only exists on this planet and in this human experience. And just like everything else in this human experience and in this story, you've created parameters around the fear and rules and aspects and division and separation and unity. And all of the aspects of the spiral are still in fear, because fear is your creation. It's your co-creation.
So the more we address this abandonment, the more we address the fear we hold and created to live above and beyond it. So is that really the goal? Is to release this all so that we can live beyond the fear that we created and start to and create something new.
What you can do is you can create now so that the light and the creation is so much louder that you continue feeding your energy and your attention there and give less attention and energy to your fears. Once you address them and release them, of course, you can move on, but you need to refuel that creation of that you had creation with fear, because you were constantly co-creating with something else. Because if you release it, you don't want to replace it with another aspect of fear.
Yeah. So creation, release, create, release.
That's why we said to you last week, what is it bringing up for you? What can you release? Because once you know that, you don't have any attachment anymore. It's almost like a cutting ties. Okay, so I don't need to carry that anymore. Oh, I feel lighter. I feel better. And then you replace that with something that's better, but still the same vibration. You know, I don't watch TV anymore. I just watch Instagram. Okay, that's better because you can get to choose who's coming on your feed and what you're engaging with, but it's still replacing one thing for another.
So that's a human experience too, where we just replace something with something else.
Yes, because you're constantly taking in so much information, and you can, just the things that you see is, so much vision and so much information coming in to your energetic field, right? What about all the things that you're not seeing and that you can feel, and how your body is working, and how this is doing that, and how all of these other things are happening in your cells and beyond behind the scenes? You're taking in so much information, and you're made to take in the information and either hold it or release that information depending on what you feel is important to you. But it still gets stored somewhere. Just because it's not stored in your physical brain, it's stored in your memory, or it's stored in your energetic body, it's stored in your past life body, it's stored in your future body, it might be stored in your present self somewhere. It's still there so that you can have access to it whenever you need it. So you are constantly taking in information and deciding what's important and what's not, what I need to hold on or what I need to release. So whatever you are releasing, you will get bombarded with the next thing. This is why being connected and grounded to nature will assist you, because those things start to slow down. The pace at which things are coming at you starts to slow down. You start to focus on the grass, and it's never looked so green, because you don't have 100 things coming into your aspect, into your energetic body at the same time. You can really just focus on one thing. And your mind gets so used to a busy pace, or a whatever pace you're living your life at, whatever energy you're living your life at, if it's depression, if it's medication, if it's whatever it is, that it only stimulates based on those things. Which means that you'll always have the list running through your head, that you'll always have the chatter in your head, that you'll always rely on external things like medicines or like whatever it is to bring you the feeling that you're looking for, thinking that you can't bring it to yourself. Or you can't create it yourself because you're not a co-creator.
That has been my experience, especially the last few weeks, is to combine this with the stillness. I've noticed that I can be still and I'm observing my mind move. But I'm also at the awareness of, I know that the more still I am, the more eventually the mind just subsides. And so I've accepted the mind in its motion, and I'm not fighting it like I would have even 6 months ago.
Well, that's why a lot of people say that they can't meditate, or they can't sleep, or they can't be by themselves, because of exactly what you just said. The stillness in the mind is uncomfortable. Observing your thoughts is really uncomfortable. It's a shockwave of a different pace.
is there a stage in which we move beyond that? Is there a stage in which we can?
Well, you're moving beyond it now.
Yeah.
You're really moving beyond it now. You're releasing, say, out of all of those aspects of fear, you're releasing until you can get back to fear and abandonment and then work on that. So we would say from our aspect, moving from 3 to 4 to 5 density, that you can only move through once those things are released. And the releasing of that assists the collective because you're co-creating new vibrational waves. For example, I must have a job or I must go to university in order to be successful is not as a strong energy as it used to be. I'm going to take a year off and explore my options and travel, or I'm going to invest in myself and start a business with my best friend, is a stronger energy. So if we continually feed that, then collectively we release the thought and the energy that we're putting in that if I don't have the fear of if I don't have a degree, I can't get a job. And then if I can't get a job, I can't pay my bills. And if I can't pay my bills, I will be homeless. And if I'll be homeless, then nobody will want to hang out with me and I'm not successful. I'm a bad person. I've made mistakes.
Yeah, and I feel like there's such a fear to mastery. That seems to be something that's been highlighting or showing up around me. Oh, I've been observing a lot more that there's a fear of like, I'm not worthy enough to be a master. Like, that's not me. That's you, but that's not who I can be.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just fear? Is unworthiness just an aspect of fear? And how can you support someone in that journey? Is it as simple as you walking in your own mastery, or is it something that needs to be clear, something that needs to be supported, something that you can help guide someone through?
That is the same as the thread in the jacket. It's just another aspect of fear. Why are you unworthy to step into the mastery? What does a master mean to you? What is that definition? What comes with that? Why are you separate from mastery? Do you think it's unachievable? Or do you believe it's unachievable? Do you believe that there are some aspects that you're already doing and other aspects that you are not? Are you comparing yourself to somebody else? And if you are comparing yourself to somebody else, it's not necessarily a bad thing because you can see that someone else is doing it and it's an example that you can do it too. We still see the love in the creation of all of these aspects of fear because it's still creation. Your individual experience of each of these layers or aspects of fear is something that's intertwined in your essence that you can untwine. And when you can get to see the master and the God light and the energy in everyone and everything beyond their individual expression, then you will see the mastery in yourself because that's what it takes. We hope we were clear in our messaging of different aspects of fear and how it's been manifest and fed over the years and over the time. Thank you.